All right, welcome to another Headhunters Northwest podcast. I'm excited to have Kenyon Gleason, the Executive Director for NASGW, as my guest. And this to me is just another really special opportunity. Kenyon, you've been very kind to me and very inclusive.
It's easy to do.
No, it's you guys have been great. And I'm just a recruiting company, and NASGW really represents our distributors and wholesalers, and then with the once a year trade show, the manufacturers. And when I first started in this industry, you weren't at NASGW.
No.
And I will tell you, and yeah, I don't even remember very much about that, but I know when you came, things started to change. And I can't believe you just told me you've been there 9 years, because it is so night and day different from what it used to be.
Yeah.
But welcome. Can you maybe tell folks about NASGW and what NASGW is for those who might be listening?
Yeah. Shailene, first of all, thank you. You're very kind. It is easy to be nice to you because you are doing a very important piece of service for the industry, and I'm a big picture type of person where I believe that each and every single piece of the wheel here is important in keeping us rolling forward. So people need workers, people need talent, and you help them find that. So for what you do, thank you, and we're happy to help you in any way we can organizationally in that regard. So NASGW, the National Association of Sporting Goods Wholesalers, is really the group responsible for helping our distribution community, the sales channel, two-step distribution channel, be successful and move forward in accomplishing their goals. And so for decades, really, NASGW has existed to help build relationships between distributors and manufacturers. So distributors are buying product from manufacturers, taking ownership of that product, bringing it into inventory, warehousing it in buildings across the United States. And then on the other end of that, helping those manufacturers market and sell those products out to thousands and thousands of retail connections across the country. So you have, approximately 50,000 mom and pop retail stores out there that are serviced by the wholesale distribution channel. And so you're providing them obviously with guns and ammo and optics and pretty much any accessory you can think of. Yeah. Although as the internet has advanced and sales models have changed, a lot of those accessory lines and things like that have sort of been peeled off to more direct to consumer types of sales vehicles. But in this industry specifically, because of the federal regulatory environment that surrounds us, guns and ammunition in particular, and I think optics, because it's really a strong component of when you walk into a store, you want to walk out of there with a full package. It is a very critical piece of sort of like keeping that infrastructure in place. So yeah. I've said from the very beginning, if we didn't have FFL requirements for buying firearms, the two-step distribution model would probably be gone. It's gone away in many other industries,
right?
Because it's just very challenging to beat that online component of a sales advantage. People are, they're busy. They want to quickly get that product and have it delivered to their home. They don't want to have to go and spend extra time going to a store. So we're sort of the last bastion of that really personal relationship, that really strong, tight networking that has to happen for a sales transaction to actually take place. And so NASGW is focused around making that transactional environment better, more friendly, easier, and more informed.
Yeah, I think NASGW, when I first started, I even went out of my way and said, what is this? Why do people need this? And when you came aboard, you spearheaded scope. To me, NASGW in the last 9 years, in my opinion, has really come into its own, because I think you took an organization that maybe didn't feel as impactful. It probably still was, but maybe didn't feel that way. But I think now you're telling people why it's impactful, and you're showing people,
Yeah.
the networking and the introductions are really, really strong. NASGW has definitely become one of my favorite, I mean, if not the favorite trade show. And I heard that a lot in October from people who were there,
Yeah.
because you can have a conversation, you can actually do business, you actually make money at this trade show. It's not a trade show that you go and think, oh, how much, because you get there and you have enough time to actually build relationships and meet with people. And there aren't so many people in the same city that you can't get a dinner reservation.
That's right.
You can meet people there and actually do business with people you just meet.
Yeah.
But I do think scope is really one of the biggest things, and some of the new offerings that NASGW has gone out and sought resources for us.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about scope?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, let me say you touched on, I think, really the critical linchpin of the importance of NASGW, and what I believe is something that we've been able to capitalize on, and I hope that we can continue to do more so. And that is the relational aspect of doing business. So, as you mentioned, our show in October, we bring together a couple thousand people all in one spot, and you get to sit down and spend not a few seconds in, passing by a booth. I get to sit here for a half hour or an hour and visit, and we're going to go over product lines, and we're going to talk about how you can help me and I can help you. And it's a really intimate opportunity. And I think in technology and in all the wonderful things that technology gives us, we're using all of those things as crutches. And sometimes we forget that the best relationships are the human ones. They're the being able to look someone in the eye and shake their hand and talk to them about the importance of their products and show them those products and hands-on and all that. And so that could go away, sure. But what do you have then? Now you're just talking about sort of things that don't really have a lot of meaning to them. It's just numbers and things.
Yeah, this business is made. That's one of the things that I love about this industry, is this is about people.
Yeah.
You're meeting the people at NASGW that own the companies.
That's right.
That a lot of them that invented the products, and they're looking for help. They're looking for people who can help them with the next step, whether it's partnering or, it doesn't matter what size the company is. There's nothing too big or too small to be at NASGW.
Yeah.
And it is the handshake. And I know we're going to get to scope in a minute, but I would be remiss if I didn't tell you one other thing that I think is absolutely critical to NASGW, in my humble opinion. The awards banquet.
Oh.
And it's, the awards are great, right? But I think it's so important for the next generation to understand it's great to dress up. It's great to go to a dinner together. It's great to honor each other. It's great to sit with your competitors at the same table and shake hands. It's great to see the cadets come in and do the Pledge of Allegiance and have the flags, and and it's, even though like this year it was shortened because the power outage and stuff, we still got that togetherness feeling. And I would encourage people that if they're ever going to attend NASGW, the best money spent is the awards banquet, because you get all that time to visit with people. And yes, is it work? It is, but it's more than that. It's more than that.
Well, you're making me smile, because big smile, because frankly, we sold out this year, our awards dinner, and I'm just super proud of that. Obviously, our team is incredible, and we've got wonderful people who work for us who help us do that. But you are absolutely hitting on all the points of why I think NASGW is so important, because it allows us the time, the ability to sort of unplug from this rat race of everyday life and just focus on us.
Yep.
just focus on being humans who work in an industry that we all care and love and have passion for, and it gives us a chance to really share that experience collectively. And so to be responsible for the organization that helps provide that gives me nothing but joy. To watch the people sort of let down their guard
Yeah.
and let in their friends
Yeah.
and become really connected. That's truly one of the most incredible blessings that I get out of my job is to watch that all unfold. And so thank you for pointing that out, because I absolutely love
It's
the
very special. It's
Yeah.
very special because we don't have that at any other trade show we go to per se.
Right.
There's other forms of it, or smaller or larger, but that I meet someone new that I've never met before every year at that banquet.
Yep.
And I meet more than one person, and
Yep.
it's just really special. So
Wow.
thank you for keeping that tradition up. I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe I'm getting old, but I think we need to dress up once in a while.
Yes.
Not about whatever his name is in Pennsylvania. It's about being respectful to each other and just honoring each other, which I think is special. But enough about that. Tell us about scope, because
Yes.
scope
Yeah.
is valuable. This, to me, scope pays for your membership. That's how I feel about it. I'm like, do I get enough value from NASGW to pay for my membership? Hands down, easy. Scope it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, thanks for allowing me an opportunity to sort of share that platform a little bit. We, I guess, started the crusade toward building a data and analytics platform for the industry really almost 9 years ago. It was one of the first things that I worked with the board on, and I came in and I said, well, what's the strategic plan? Where are we going? And they said, oh, we're hoping you'll help us with that. And so I have, and we've done it together. The board's been outstanding. That's a really another great part about this is I get to work with just some really, really bright individuals, and we all work together to find these solutions. But building scope out. So for those listening that don't know anything about scope, we collect data from currently, I think it's 22 different distributors, and we aggregate all that information and then allow that scope data to be shared with our distributors first and foremost, because they needed to have a better picture of what the market looked like. That wasn't just their building. Now they're seeing a fuller picture of what's out there in the sales channel, and they can make better decisions about how they're handling their little piece of that channel. And then over the last 3 to 4 years, we've actually incorporated aspects in partnership with some amazing point of sale partners across the industry to build out a retail component to that data as well. So in our data subset, you can see from the time that a product effectively leaves a manufacturer all the way to the sales end user perspective, and track and view and see how all of that those products are moving, what's successful, what's maybe stuck. Maybe a company looks and says, we're having really good sales over here in this part of the country, but for whatever reason, it's not selling for us in the Northwest, for example. Well, what can we do to now be better about that? That never existed before in our industry, except for maybe a few really sophisticated companies who were out there gathering marketing data from credit card companies and other unique places where you could find that information. But NASGW took it upon itself organizationally to really be able to build out and be the voice for information in our industry, and specifically, obviously, in the two-step distribution channel. So now, if you're a subscriber to the Scope program, and all of our members get access to some Scope information, regardless. But if you're a subscriber, you can now see your company versus the market. You can tell how you're making an impact as a company, and see where you stack up against all of your competitors. The retail data in particular, we have, I think, over 700 stores now that are day to day, and there are more coming in every, we upload new ones every week, every month. So you can now see at retail what something's selling for, and the price points, and compare your product to those other products and see where you fit, and just really have a much better understanding of the marketplace and what your position is in it and how you can change that if you want to. Maybe you're
Yeah.
satisfied with where you're at and you think you're doing well. That's great. But at least now you know. And so you can now make plans about how you want to either expand or stay the same or do whatever. That just didn't exist before we put Scope together. And so we're super proud of that program. We didn't do it to make money. And I think that's really the great part about it. Yes, we charge a certain amount for the subscribers because we have to pay for the infrastructure. There are people
Right.
required to
Oh, yeah.
do all this work.
Oh,
but
yeah.
at the end of the day, as a nonprofit, with the betterment of the industry in mind, we're able to take that information and really help our members understand at a deeper level how things are going. And so, I now have manufacturers telling me in a little tongue in cheek, hey, doggone it, how come you guys had to build that thing out? Because now I gotta be on my game a little bit more here. Before it was, well, here's my products, go for it. Now I gotta kind of prove it out.
Yeah.
So it's been phenomenally successful. Our distributors love it because they are making way better decisions about what to put into inventory. They're spending and risking millions and millions, tens and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yep, they sure are.
Anytime you're taking that kind of risk, the more information you have, the better. So it's making them better at what they do in that buy and sell game, and it's making our manufacturer partners better about knowing what to make, where it's selling, who among their partners is helping them sell it better. It's really just opening up our industry to a greater level of transparency and honesty. And I just always believe that where the sun shines in, you're going to have a much better product. Now, that was not easy, Shailene. That this project, I was told from day one, hey, this is a Mount Everest thing, so don't expect to make the summit. Well, I'm just that stubborn.
Well, it was not easy. This is not an easy group to say, hey, open your underwear drawer and let's show everybody, right? This is not the group for that.
No.
And you have earned their trust. And I mean, they're not going to work. They're not going to help you with threats or getting mad at them, they work better with trust. That it just takes time and trust. And you've done it because every year now, this is the second year I went, and I know you've done it before this, but the Scope Luncheon is incredible. I think there should not be a person. I think you should shut the trade show floor down because I can't imagine anyone, even me, who could get something from that, right? And it's beautiful because remind me of the gentleman's name who did the topic.
So there are two gentlemen, Easton Koboshek and Tom Hopper, who both are kind of in charge of that program, and they're genius, wizards at all of this stuff. Tom in particular, because he's worked as an analyst in the industry for some of our bigger companies, and so he understands what it means and how to use those numbers and put them to work for you. So
well, Easton was brave because I remember when he first started for you, and he had to go out and talk about this and explain to people what this was, the brainchild.
Yeah.
And Tom has done a really great job putting these presentations together and explaining them in a way that even I can understand them. So I think the value of an NASGW has really become obvious, whereas I'm not sure before it was so obvious.
Yeah, thank you. We are very proud of what we've accomplished with Scope. When I first started, I think it was the first year, maybe the second year, probably the second year of the show for me. We did a big video push, and we said in that sort of high level, high energy marketing piece that we did, we were going to do big things, and we meant it, and we have. And I think that people respect that we didn't just talk about it. We actually put our money where our mouth is. And so, yes, I'm the person who's in charge of NASGW, but let's just be real. Like, none of this happens without a
Oh yeah.
hugely supportive board, tremendous support from our distributor community in particular, from an incredible team of people, Easton and Tom, two of the main ones on the Scope program for sure, but all the people who do the marketing and the communication of all of this stuff, and the building of the websites, and the building of the data collection services with some of our partners that exist outside of NASGW.
Yeah.
This whole thing has just been a continued, proverbial
Yep. Proverbial.
tongue tied today, snowball down the hill.
Yeah.
And it just keeps picking up steam. And so we are getting to a point now as a program that we are almost fully developed, but we've got some other sort of aces up the sleeve on this thing that we're working on, to really take now all of this hard work in building this data set and making it much more publicly available to
great.
folks, in terms of like catalog information and photograph information, and getting everybody on the same page across the industry, so that you don't have to wonder, as you're looking at a product, if it's the same thing it'll all be universal. So we got a lot of cool stuff going, and Scope's been amazing, but NASGW isn't done. We're working on things like insurance initiatives. We launched one last year called Fortify, where folks across the industry, doesn't matter if they're members or not, honestly, can take advantage of some pretty good access to insurance programs. That is continuing to be a challenge for people.
Yeah.
We are working on a captive insurance program, and I mentioned to you before we started, on the air today, that we've had some problems and some challenges in that, because the insurance community is very risk averse where our industry is concerned, and so we may have missed the boat on this. I don't know. But we're not giving up. We're going to continue to keep trying to build out programs that are for the benefit of our members and non-members. But as long as they're in the industry, we want to help them. Banking is another big critical piece. We had Old Glory Bank at our show in October, and they're just one example of folks who are willing to stand in the void and sort of like help out. I don't know that they'll be the be all end all for everybody, but certainly,
but you're providing options.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part as business owners. We need choices.
That's
and
right.
we need to know who the choices are. And that's, I think, one of the things that NASGW is doing. You're providing the business owners. These are options that are interested in doing business with you. Instead, these companies have to go try to sort through thousands of choices. So it's a big help.
Yeah. That and we want to do more with that. One of our we just redid our strategic plan again here this past summer. One of the things that we're talking about now, because Scope has been so successful, is sort of not leaving it behind, but maybe sort of bringing another goal up to equal importance, and that's a goal of advocacy. And I don't mean by advocacy like lobbying necessarily or anything like that, but more just being a service center, a warehouse of, if you will, the sort of, pun, a little bit of pun intended there, but being a warehouse of information, of resources for our community. Because as you pointed out, it's hard to know who to trust. You don't know if this insurance company's got your back or if this bank has your back. In fact, many of them are continuing to walk away, and they do it quickly, and then you're left scrambling. And so we want to try to help solve some of those challenges, those business issues, those things that matter when you're doing business day to day. The 2A lobbying, the advocacy on the 2A stuff, the big picture legislative environment, that's better left to folks like NSSF and others who are experienced and really talented in that arena. We're really more focused on helping businesses do business.
Yep. I think that's exactly how I think of NASGW. It is a really valuable trade association made up of incredible people that are there to help you do business, because I see it happen all the time. And I see you at other trade shows, so that you're not a one-dimensional trade association. You're out there networking with the other trade associations and lots of other companies. So it's not a just a group in a box. I see you guys out at all kinds of other events I attend.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's really part of what like my job is to, yes, I'm building relationships and helping to bridge the gap between manufacturers and distributors and retailers, but also to bridge the gap between us and other supporters in other corners of our industry. And so, yeah, you'll find me at the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation events. You'll find me at NSSF events, in particular SHOT Show, obviously. You'll find me at NRA events, at Suppressor Association events. You'll find me at even sort of, and I won't call this tangential because it's really actually a very critical component of our industry, but I also serve on the board of Walk the Talk America, which is a suicide prevention organization.
Right.
And so, things like that, where, we have to, as a group, as an industry, really continue to come together and work collectively, because I've said this at a couple of our dinner events from the stage. One of us is easily broken, but multiples of us together, working collectively, collaboratively toward a better future, we're going to be very difficult for people to break us, despite how very hard they're trying.
Yes, that's right. Well, if anyone is listening and doesn't know how to reach NASGW, it's real simple. NASGW.org. And we'll put the link in with this podcast to wherever that's applicable. Is there any way you'd like to end this podcast and little chat? Any sort of final sign off? I mean, I don't know. I just think NASGW has really carved a unique spot that's needed. That's really needed.
Well, we're not giving up. We know we're getting beat down by the regulatory environment. We're getting beat down by the political environment. We're getting beat down by a changing sort of business climate where people are very risk averse when they start talking about the firearms community. But we're not walking away. We're digging in fact, and we're finding new and better ways to challenge ourselves. We're not afraid to fail. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And I think so many industries are afraid to try new things and do different things. If I were afraid to fail, we'd never have scope.
Oh yeah.
I was told by basically everybody I talked to that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And we proved them wrong. And so, that's how we approach everything, and that's how we're going to keep going. So don't be afraid to fail.
I'm really appreciate it very much, Kenyon, and thank you for leading the trade association and thereby, providing opportunities for my company and also my clients and the people that are in the industry. So I really appreciate you being on the podcast. Thank you so much. And I guess we'll sign off. That's it for this podcast for Headhunters Northwest.